Good morning, and thanks for joining us for the Peaceful Rest Missionary Baptist Church television broadcast, where Dr. R. Timothy Jones is our senior pastor. We're located at 8200 St. Vincent Avenue in the heart of the Cedar Grove community. Please join us each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. as we've declared 2011 as the year our lives change forever. We now join our worship service currently in progress.
See, I'm living the best life.
Reasonable doubt is a standard of proof used in judicial or criminal proceedings. In our land, guilt must be proven. Thank you, Jesus. Beyond a reasonable doubt, in order to achieve the conviction of an accused person. However, this legal concept does not necessarily mean absolute certainty. Unfortunately, my beloved sisters and brothers, the life and journey of the believer is not without reasonable doubt. We do not and cannot live in absolute certainty. The faith that offers so many answers raises so many questions. The faith that presents so many solutions seems to bring with it so many problems. The same faith that comforts sometimes conflicts. How great it would be if the faith was filled with facts and void of frustrations. How awesome it would be if the Christian journey was painless and without peril. The fact is, sometimes life hurts, and the faith does not seem to help. There are times and places when we all wonder, what in the world are we doing? And is this faith thing really worth it? Don't we all have our reasonable doubts? Don't we all have questions that aren't easily answered? Problems that are not easily solved? Tensions that are not easily relieved? And anxieties that are not easily soothed? Don't we all have our areas of uncertainty? Yes, there are some things we'll understand by and by. But wouldn't it help if we could comprehend it right now? In his text, Doubt, Growing Through the Uncertainties of the Faith, theologian Alistair McGrath suggests Christians prefer not to talk about doubt. It is perceived to be insulting God or calling his integrity into question. Some see doubt as a sign of spiritual or intellectual weakness, and many Christians consequently suppress their doubt. It is regrettable, I tell you today, that we have been conditioned to deny our deepest issues with the faith and to act as though they do not exist. We have been taught to simply accept everything at face value, even when it is painful and perplexing. Y'all talk to me. We were told not to question God. as if he is intimidated by the feeble, frail, and flimsy inquiries of our finite minds. In the face of our questions, doubts, and tensions, God is still God. In the face of our issues, reservations, and fears, God still sits on the throne. Y'all come on now. God is yet God. His wisdom is not minimized. His personality is not disproved. His love is not diminished. His power is not weakened. His compassion is not negated by our questions. Our purpose in this discussion today is neither to condemn nor to condone doubt, but to liberate believers to discover the personality and purposes of God in the face of uncertainty. And our hope is to equip believers to live beyond reasonable doubt, as it is uncertainty that makes faith necessary. After all, faith is the substance of things hoped for. Come a little closer. Faith is the evidence of things, talk to me if you can, not seen. Oh, my beloved sisters and brothers, join me in taking a serious look at John the Baptist. My beloved sisters and brothers, we have the privilege today to see John the Baptist as we have never seen him before. This larger than life faith figure may be wrestling with doubt. In his personal dungeon of despair, his literal and figurative prison, John raises a most significant question of the Christ here in Matthew 11. And that is, are you the one? Or should we look for another? It would do us well to evaluate the gravity of this question in light of the personality who raises this question. This is John the Baptist. He's my superhero in the faith. John the Baptist means to me now what Superman meant to me as a boy. This is John the Baptist. This is not Plato, Aristotle, or Socrates. This is John the Baptist. This is not Pyrrho, Empiricus, or Voltaire. This is John the Baptist. This is not Rene Descartes, Francis Bacon, Blaise Pascal, or David Hume. This is John the Baptist. You know him, don't you? John is at least the second cousin of Jesus Christ. You remember when Mary went to visit her cousin Elizabeth. Mary, yes, went to bring the news of her being overcome up by the Holy Spirit and the Christ child being conceived in her belly. It was Elizabeth who was pregnant with John. John is 6 months older than his cousin Jesus. And as Mary and Elizabeth are talking, John offers what I call a prenatal praise. He began to leap in his mother's womb. This is John, y'all. And he now asks, are you the one? Or should we look for another? John was the forerunner of Christ. Mark 1:7-8 says, you hear John says, there comes one after me who is mightier than I. Now, Mark says his shoelaces. I'm not even worthy to bow down to unloose them. Matthew says, I can't even carry his shoes. John says, I indeed baptize you with water, but he will baptize you with the Holy Spirit. The evangelist Mark called John the Baptist a voice crying in the wilderness. In his premature eulogy of John the Baptist, Jesus said in this very 11th chapter of Matthew, among those born of women, there has not risen one greater than John the Baptist. You know, John was even mistaken by people to be the Christ. Isn't that interesting? I mean, has anybody ever asked you if you were Jesus? I mean, what a mighty man he must have been to walk like Jesus, talk like Jesus, act like Jesus, preach like Jesus, until people started asking, are you Jesus? In fact, there were people who even thought Jesus was John the Baptist. You remember in the coast of Caesarea Philippi when Jesus asked the brethren, who do men say I am? Some say you are John the Baptist. John the Baptist was a man of remarkable conviction and courage. In the text, he sits in prison because he denounced the adulterous marriage of Herod Antipas and Herodias, who had been married to Herod's brother Philip. And John condemned them, and he would soon be beheaded. It is in this dark, dismal place where John raises his question of reasonable doubt. Are you the one? Or should we look for another? This is an interesting question given the fact that John had the privilege of baptizing Jesus. You remember what happened when Jesus walked to the Jordan where John baptized him. It was in that episode where John witnessed the opening of the heavens and a voice from heaven declaring, this is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. How does this monumental man of God sink to such depths of despair? How is a man of such profound convictions overcome by doubt? And I thought we needed to talk about it, because if it could happen to John, it can happen to us. Let's talk about this issue of uncertainty. Paul Tillich said, doubt isn't the opposite of faith. It is an element of faith. Oh yeah, doubt's caught a bad rap. But I came to talk about doubt because doubt subliminally presupposes something exists, because it has to exist in order to be doubted. And at the heart of doubt is a desire or a struggle to believe, even when we find it difficult to believe. It's Oswald Chambers who said doubt is not always a sign that a man is wrong. It may be a sign that he's thinking. And the truth is, it is not doubt that breaks the heart of God. It's unbelief. That's what it is. Unbelief. Not doubt. Unbelief. Doubt is a struggle, but unbelief is a sin. Hebrews 3:12 says, see to it, brothers, that none of you has a sinful, unbelieving heart that turns away from the living God. I guess I ought to back up and help us understand there is a distinction between doubt and unbelief. Doubt finds it difficult to believe. Unbelief is the decision not to believe. Doubt can lead us to the light. Unbelief finds contentment in the dark. Doubt is a matter of the mind. Unbelief is a matter of the heart. Doubt raises honest questions. Unbelief rejects truthful answers. Periods of doubt should not diminish our faith, but those times develop our faith. Faith is maximized, not minimized, by doubt. It is uncertainty. Walk with me. It is uncertainty that makes faith necessary. It is doubt that enlarges our faith. Alfred Lloyd Tennyson asked, would it be faith if it needed to be substantiated by fact? Thank God, the faith outweighs the facts. Fact says the rent's due. Faith says God's got it. Facts say times are tough. Faith says God will provide. The facts say you're sick. But the faith says he's a healer. Oh, to have a witness. It is at the point of doubt that the believer grows up. We can only appreciate the luminescence of the moon and the stars in the dark. The stars don't need darkness in order to exist, but we need the darkness to see the stars. Chuck Swindoll said, it is the right of every believer to go through the halls of doubt on their way to the rooms of truth. The question today is, can we give God the benefit of the doubt? As finite creatures, we are incapable of comprehending the mind of God. It is literally impossible to grasp the totality of God's infinite wisdom. We are easily aggravated and irritated when the will of God makes no sense to us. But I hear him saying in Isaiah 55:89, my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are my ways your ways. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts. I thought we needed to be reminded that God has not called us to understand him, but he has called us to trust him. Our job is not to comprehend. Our job is to believe. I've been to seminary and I can't explain how a virgin got pregnant, but I believe it. I can't explain how he walked on water, but I believe it. I can't explain how he said, let there be light, and there was light, but I believe it. I cannot understand how he healed the sick without ever going to med school, but I believe it. I don't understand how he died on Friday and got up early Sunday morning, but I believe it. I said I believe it. Can I get a few witnesses who will help me when I tell you? I don't know how he kept a roof over my head, but he did it. Don't understand how he keeps putting food on the table, but he keeps on making a way out of no way. Don't quit trying to understand him and just believe him. If God said it, I believe it, and that settles it. If God said it, I believe it. Stop trying to understand God and just believe God. You got a master's degree making 6 figures and can't feed 2 children. Big mama didn't finish school, had 12 children, and fed all of them after Big Daddy died with no education. Big mama didn't have no food stamps. Big mama didn't have no degree. But Big mama said, I know the Lord will make a way somehow. When beneath the cross I bow, is he all right? Is he all right? I know he's all right. I know he's all right. I know he's all right. Hey! I know he's all right. We are not called to understand him. We're called to believe him. Y'all been hearing me say for years, it's one thing to believe in God, but it's something else to believe God. Is there anybody here who can just help me say, if God said it, it may not make sense, it may not add up on paper, they don't teach it at Harvard Business School, but if God said it, I mean, he said if you just give, good measure, he'll give back to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, overrunning into your bosom. That ain't economics, but if God said it, I mean, he said all things work together for the good of the people who love God. I don't understand how he does it, but oh, I believe. All right, I got to out some folk. Y'all sitting here looking at me. I need to out some folk. Is there anybody here who can join me when I tell you where I am, he brought me? Little nappy head boy from the other side of the track on East 78. But look at what the Lord has done. What I have, he gave me. And what I know is he all right. I don't always understand him. I can't always comprehend him. But I need to tell somebody, when you're down to nothing, God's up to something. Will you just hold on? Will you just hold on? Help somebody, tell them, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hang on in there. Don't throw in the towel. Hang on in there. He may not come when you want it. But even if it looks like he's not on time, he's always in time. If it had not been for of the Lord on my side. Tell me where would I be? I know it's all right. Come on, just bless the Lord. I guess I'll just have to finish this Wednesday. Just help me bless the Lord. Will you just help somebody? Tell them, baby, I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what's on your mind. But I do need to tell you this. The Lord will make a way somehow if you just trust in the Lord with all your heart. Quit leaning on your own understanding. He will. I said he will. He will. I said he will. I gotta quit before I run up out of here. Yes, he will. Yes, he will. Yes, he will. Won't he do it? Ought to have about 300 or 400 folk who'll lose their mind for the Lord and tell the world, yes, he will. Yes, he will. I know he will. I know he will. I know he will. Anybody here ever tried it? Have you tried it? Do you know he will? I know he will. I know he will. Stop trying to understand him and just trust him. The door's open.
Thanks for joining us for this morning's broadcast. Our prayer is that you were blessed by this message. If you would like to be a blessing or would like to purchase today's message, please feel free to contact us at 318-869-REST. That's 318-869-7378. You can join us online every Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. at www.peacefulrest.com. And as always, be strong and be encouraged.